Beautiful. That is the opening of the wonderful introspective Prelude number 2 in B-flat minor from the Opus 32 Preludes. After all the stormy fireworks of C major of number 1, to settle into this one, interestingly enough, starting on the C, which we ended the previous prelude with, but going immediately into a complete new region. This is the inner world of Rachmaninoff. This to me typifies the melancholy that was so much a part of his psyche for his entire life. Because of that melancholy, which is a disposition, personality-wise, coupled with his experiences of having been separated from his homeland, being an expatriate for most of his life, contributed to this sense of loneliness, I think. And that's why we have music like this. We have a piece that I consider this a lament. It's weary. It starts off on a C, like I said, and the melody starts here in the soprano. It's so questioning, and then it repeats with a variation. Instead of up a step and a third, the repetition now expands to up a third and a fourth. Rest, rest. And those are your opening 2 phrases. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is the meter on this starts off as 9/8 time, a compound meter of 3/3/3, but immediately in measure 2, the full first measure 2 is a 12/8, and then a 9/8 and a 12/8. And then we continue on for 8 more measures, and then one more 9/8, 12/8, 9/8, 12/8, and from that point on, the piece remains in 12/8 time. So why did he do that? Why did he put the 9/8 time in this piece? And my answer is because of this opening 2-measure melody, it has to have the extra 3 beats at the end to unwind. Think. Another breath. He's thinking. That's what it is for me. Those beats are needed for the resolution of the thought and the feeling. Now the other thing about this, interestingly, is it is in the key of B-flat minor, but he doesn't want to tell us that. He is being purposefully ambiguous of the harmonies and the key areas that he's choosing for this piece. We almost never hear B-flat minor. In fact, we don't hear it conclusively until the last 2 measures of the piece. Now, why is he doing that? That's another philosophical question. I think of these things when I'm listening and working with an interpretation. All of these things matter. So what is he delaying internally to delay the tonic this much? It's unusual. It doesn't happen in pieces. The other thing that's interesting about this piece is the structure of it is not a typical ABA or sonata form with a recapitulation, with material repeated. None of the material really repeats again. There are all these separate sections unfolding like one's own life would, in unexpected ways. We're on this ride, we're on this journey with this piece. That's what this means to me. So, as is always the case with Rachmaninoff, we have many parts: soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and sometimes a fifth part. So as we know, the soprano has the opening motive, which is built on the Sicilian rhythm. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9, 1, 2, and 3. That dotted eighth to a 16th to an eighth is the Sicilian rhythm. Ya da da dee da 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 da. Rachmaninoff likes that. He's used it in 2 other preludes we will see as we continue on with these preludes, the whole cycle of the Opus 32. The bass starts with the outline of C and F. So we may think that's the tonic. We don't know. Now listen to the part here with just the bass. And this also has a typical special rhythm called a long, short, long, short, long, short, long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we put the bass and the soprano together with these complementary rhythms, but different rhythms, this is what we have, the outer outline. Still don't know what key it is. Now, it becomes complex, it becomes zeroed in on the heart when we look at the inner parts, 3 of them. An alto 1, an alto 2, and the tenor. The alto 1 that is so lonely to me. It's so austere with these half steps. G flat, F, down a half step, E natural, and F. He's circling around the F. You see, F is the tonal center. The second alto is down a third. That has power, rhetoric to it. And if you put them together, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The tenor completes the trio. That's lonely. Now let's put those 3 together. So beautiful. The next phrase repeats identically. Did you hear I brought out the tenor there? You can shape that. There are many ways you can shape this. And because we hear that more than once, you can vary it. One time you could bring out, as all parts are together, you could bring out, this is as written. This is filling out the measure as a thread on the Sicilian rhythm. And the repetition, now I'm going to bring out the tenor this time. To 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Where are we going? Would you believe? What's this G doing here? Listen to this bass line here. He's doing that on the long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Above it, it's ascending. And over that, the other hand, the right hand, has three voices. It has the soprano still saying the G on each of the big beats, just like the bass did. You put those two together. Where's it going? To C. The alto is very beautiful. I'm going to play this. So beautiful. The tenor. And the bass has a full part, climbing up. This is measure 7. There's a lot in this one measure. Let me play with all the parts together. It's pianissimo, un poco più mosso, a little more moving. See, I like to place that E flat. Measure 8. Oh, we went to F major. How did that happen? How did we go from C major at the beginning of measure 8, and at the beginning of measure 9, we went to F major? That's profound. That's a lot of movement. That's this emotional condition again. When all of a sudden things part and they move and they go quickly, and you end up going from here to here. Doesn't that happen in life sometimes? We make important decisions in our life path, and before we know it, we're on a different path. I think that's going on here. And now I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. This is the first page of 4 from your chart of this piece. This is a brand new engraving. Has never been done this way before. On the 11 by 17 inch horizontal landscape. I made this up. And I'm so happy to be able to offer this. You can get this chart from my website, sallychristianmusic.com, as digital downloads. This working copy that I'm using for the lesson, this is my copy, and it has colors on it. Your copy, I will show you right now, comes like this. Black and white, completely clean, pristine, lots and lots of open space for you to mark as you like. Now what do you see when you look at this? If these are systems, 1, 2, 3, 4, you notice, let's go back to my version, that we have duplication of structure here. We have 6 measures in the first system and a little over 2 in the second. And 6 measures on the third system and a little over 2 on the second. Now that little over 2 may sound strange to you. The reason is because this piece really begins on the upbeat at the beginning. 7, 8, 9, 1. The melody comes, yes, on the first beat, but it's preceded with this. 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When we start the repetition, where we are right now, here, it starts on the 4th beat. Interesting, because he still needs to preserve the 3 groups of 3 and then the 4 groups of 3. This is an interesting point in re-engraving the piece. Where does the phrase start? Where does it end? So this was 3 long beats, 3 big beats, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's exactly like this started here. But this time it starts on the 4th beat. And you will notice how many times the phrases begin on the 4th beat. From this point forward, it's going to be all the way through the piece. And that's an important distinction. It's off just a little bit. When a phrase is offset from the predictable downbeat, it just feels a little bit different. Psychologically, our ear doesn't hear it, but I think it makes a difference psychologically, and I teach this way. So, our repetition now of material has one difference and only one difference, and that's in the tenor. The beginning started like this. The tenor. Now, on the repetition, measure 9, this is what we have. Short, long. And then if you put that with the bass, this is what the repetition sounds like. Now let's put the parts together here. This is the last pair of 9/8, 12/8 right now. Now we're all 12/8. Instead of the first time, now we go and A flat, and the last two measures to close, bass line, soprano and alto. There's one last thing I need to tell you here. At the very beginning when we had the alto, with that haunting G flat, F, E natural, and F. I call that the heart motive, because it does activate my heart chakra. I hear loneliness, I hear desolateness. Not everybody does, but to me this really activates that part of my emotions. Now Rachmaninoff is using that heart motive to wrap up our whole first page. Exactly that again in measure 15. Listen to the alto part here with the pickup. So if we look at our working copy again, it's come full circle. What started in measure 1 with the heart motive in the alto, upper alto, he uses one more time here, I put it in yellow, to close our whole first section. We won't come back to this material like this again in the piece. But what we will use now, beginning on page 2, the piece quickly develops in startling ways. What took us an entire page 1 for opening material is setting the foundation. It's like a story, and you're laying out all the plot and all the characters. Now the interest happens. What happens to these people? Where do they go? And that's what happens here now at the beginning of our page 2. Let me just show you what my copy looks like. What do you see that's different? Well, the first thing is, it's busy. There's a lot more material here. Look at the soprano. All of these are 16th notes. Non-stop, non-stop, non-stop 16th notes. So it's becoming more agitated. It's getting more dense. Our motive, the Sicilian motive of the piece, is now going to become developed. We start with the tenor, but instead of on the C, it's on the F. And believe it or not, that is by itself what the tenor does for 3 entire measures. Right here, at the beginning of measure 17 is a little faster, and it's pianissimo, and it starts with a staccato. It goes on and on like that. Would that be interesting? Probably not by itself, but if you add then what happens with the bass under that, this now becomes marvelous. In our 12 beats, starting on the 4th beat, I'm going to count and play the bass part alone. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I won't count. It's so beautiful. Starts with a single note E flat, and then 2/3. Now another whole 4 big beats, E flat, and another whole 4 beats. And if you put that all together, this is what you have. Next phrase. Next phrase. So what goes over it now? And this is where the piece becomes extraordinary. Still starting on the 4th beat. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. We have sequences. And let me play the outline of notes starting on the G flat. This is what the pattern is. The upper notes of the soprano, which are always played with the 5th finger. G flat. Drop down to F. Drop down to E flat. And what he adds, the subsequent notes are like this. Very beautiful. When you play it as a blocked chord, that dissonance, it's a minor ninth. In fact, the outline goes like this. And the full part of the right hand is like this. Like there's little waves. And I group with my arm. I grab them in groups at a time. We play with our arms and the fingers follow through. Down a step. Down a step. Now, this is the close of those 4 measures, and look what we have. The left hand, soprano, tenor, soprano, rocking back and forth on the F with our Sicilian motive. But there's more to it than that. Listen to this measure 20. I'm going to play the left hand alone first. That chord. There's the G flat. That's a pivotal note. That's an important note. Soprano at that measure. And together. I'm going to put the hands together here. Starting the whole next system, and it's almost identical to what I just played, but the patterns are different and the direction that the notes go are also different. This is extremely complicated music. So by taking it apart like this, not only am I hoping to show you what's in the music, how many layers there are to it, but also as a suggestion for your own practicing of taking these parts alone and learning them as separate standalone parts, so you really hear all of the beautiful interest of melodic writing. So starting with the soprano now, in our system 2, our starting note, G flat. Now instead of having the upper note move up, like it we did the first time. Now it's the bottom notes that are going to change. Da, 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 and to finish up to this F. Next phrase, the top note still moves up a step to the A flat, but the interest, da, 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 and up to F to finish. The third time, B flat is our starting note, and up to the F to finish. One more group, C, the F, and D flat. And would you believe, way up to here. So those outer notes really are helping us to move up very high on the keyboard. We're soon going to be at the most dramatic and passionate moment in the piece. It's pretty early in the piece to have maybe a culminating moment, but we're soon to be there. So with the left hand, which we haven't looked at yet, now our tenor, which was stagnant, rooted on that F, not being able to move away. The ostinato writing of the first system now breaks out. Now this tenor line is going to be the most important line of structure for where he's going. And I'm going to play just the moving beat notes, starting at measure 21 on the fourth beat. G flat, A flat, D flat, E flat, and F. So that's moved up an entire octave. And by the full part, now that you know the outline, is like this. Exactly how Rachmaninoff writes at that point, with the left, right, just incredible. All right, we still need to look at the bass on system 2. There's a lot to this, isn't there? You think, are we ever going to get through these two systems? And you know, I've felt that way many times learning the piece. And in performance, I have to tell you that these two systems, these 8 measures, were absolutely mind-boggling. It was so difficult sometimes, that certainly in the earlier performances, when I hadn't had a lot of performance experience with the piece, it's like, oh man, what happens here? And I would confuse the parts. I mean, it's very easy to get confused in this part of the piece. So that's why all of this careful attention is really essential. Unless you happen to have a genius mind. Some people actually have computer minds, and they can see a score and, 3 days later they have it learned perfectly and they never forget. But that's really the exception. Most of us have to do it the long, slow, hard way. So the bass part here on our second system, oh, this is so beautiful. Starts with a single note, that's beautiful. And if you play this slowly, as redistribution, listen to the blend of tenor and bass. Then up a step, it's climbing. There's that clash there. These all start on the fourth beat. Up again, it's another step. There's that And it's the only clue we have that our tonic, our home key, where we're going, ultimately is B flat minor. And only with that G flat do we get some suspicions that maybe, yes, it is in B flat minor after all. So let me put the hands together now with this system 2 and how we're going to get way up here, starting from here. Alto. So I'm going to show you now what you also get with your supplies. You get the satellite view. Now this is the 11 by 17 size paper with the vertical direction, and this is your entire piece. And when you get your chart and print these out, go ahead if you want and put some clear heavy tape at the back, and you'll have this copy. It can fold up like that. It won't take up any more space than your chart. And then you can set this and look at it and get an appreciation for the mind of Rachmaninoff. Where I ended right now was here. Do you see how much farther we have to go on the piece? Do you see how much was packed in this page 2? This is all page 2. Now, what I did here, this is only for the lesson. I made a few marks in colored pencil. I didn't use the normal colored rectangular boxes that I include in a lot of the satellite views. Instead, I put just a little bit of marking for myself, a lot of pencil markings. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you like. Or perhaps just look at it from this. And what I'm going to show you here is this turquoise mark that I wrote from here to here. So here's our page 2, system 1. This wonderful progression that moved from here to here, the climax of the piece right here, all this F, 2 measures coming down, tumbling down. Look how many times we have just 2 measures. Right here. That was that packed measure 7 that modulated to the C major, and then measure 8 that modulated to the F major. These 2 measures here were very much like these, also loaded with content, and this one is our end of page 1, which closed clearly on F major with that extended full chord. Now I want to point out right now, before we leave this page, so I don't forget, I put these orange rectangular boxes around these 2 F major chords in measure 16 that closes our opening material all on page 1, because I wanted you to see that Rachmaninoff is gravitating towards that as a tonal center. And right here, he uses the very same chord. And again, towards the very end of the piece, he's going to use it 3 more times. And that's extremely unconventional to do that. You see, this piece is really not like most of your pieces. I've been analyzing all of these. And this one has really taken my attention as a standalone, quite different in many ways. So where we are right now is this 4 measures of some of the most gorgeous writing I've ever heard. This may be my favorite 4 measures of the entire piece. And it spills out, that's the bottom of page 4 here, 2, spills out from the bottom of our page 2 to the top of page 3 with a cadenza going down, down, down to what note? That F. So we went from here all the way to here. That's where he was going. What a just incredible conception. So let's put this away and see how he gets to this low, low F, the lowest F on the keyboard, and see what goes over that. So here we are now. We've just had the climax, kind of early in the piece for that. This tenor line by itself in measure 27. These are 4 measures. Starting on the 4th beat. Another 4th beat. Breath. So beautiful. Underneath that are some triads, or chords rather, and of the most extraordinary combinations. And I'm actually going to redistribute and play what I just played as a single top note with the right hand, and the other 2 notes I'm going to play with the left hand. So we have now a whole series of chords. Listen to this now. That's just the tenor part. Now the bass part has this hidden line. Look at that! Skirting the C, either side, below the C to the B natural, the C up a half step D flat. You see how many times he's using that to highlight a tonal center. Now, that's not it though. Listen, this is what's in the bass. These are all syncopations. What was on the bottom? Nothing but F. So this is a type of pedal point. And if you put the 2 as redistribution, this is still all for the left hand. This is what these 4 measures of non-stop singing. To me, this is like wailing. This is like the wind howling. It really goes through me. It just goes right through my core. And I just feel the incredible angst in this. Listen to these parts. The same outline as the tenor, so it's really a duet here. But the soprano continues with all these 16th notes like this. That's difficult. I'm not warmed up. I need to be warmed to play this. Really, you need the blood supply to the fingers if you're going to be doing all this fast passage work. People don't realize that aren't pianists how important it is that you have your warm fingers, because they just don't work otherwise as well. Let's put the parts all together now. This is measure 27, and this is leading still. We're not through with our arrival point down to here. Let's see how we get there with the cadenza. So here we are now. Is that F again? There's that fifth. Up a half step. And then, and what's that? Well, that's a reference to, but it's in augmentation, it's slow. It's slowed way down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, guess what? B flat. Fifth, B flat and F. First time we've had our real tonic. How long will we stay here? Well, if we look at that bass part, didn't stay long at all. This is so beautiful. This is a moment where time freezes. This is that frozen emotional landscape. When after all of this strife, this enormous amount of agitation that we've had, and even physically to do this, we do get keyed up when we have to produce all these notes. And to catch our breath at this point is profound for us, those who play the piece, as well as for the listener. Animoso. Cry. Now, allegro, moderato. Guess what? Here's our opening material, but it's different. It's in F. And the rhythm is faster. It's like our spirit now is quickened. Our spirit is lightened. The material is still here. But it sounds so different with this skipping movement that we have. Both hands. The alto. And these parallel sixths between alto and tenor. So here we are. And the bass. Of course, the F, that tonal center we can't seem to leave. Here it is, the sort of, it's not the real recapitulation, it's not a recapitulation because it's different. The material he's building it on is our opening material, but it has transformed, it has metamorphosized, and so have we. Pianissimo, alto. Beautiful. Now let me show you something also that I love about being able to put these notes wherever I want. And I chose in this page 3 to line this up here because it's the same material. And I like looking at this as a unit. That, believe it or not, is exactly what he did on our page 1 with the first 9/8-12/8 measure, do 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 do, and the second 9/8-12/8, yo do 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 do, third to fourth. He's doing here. Here's the second third, and here's the third and fourth. So you get to see it and practice it and know that that's a unit. And so that leads us now. I was saying about the power of the 2 plus measures. That now leads us to the top of page 4, and we have a very interesting progression in the bass that goes like this, starting on the 4th beat. Where is he going? And under that is unsettling. Listen to the soprano. And the alto, this is so beautiful. This is the double alto part again. The upper alto and the lower alto. Put those together, altos. Fourth beat, seventh. And then, kind of scary there. Let's put everybody together there. It's the top of page 4. It's poco a poco accelerando. Oh, and one more thing. I hear these as pairs, and this is how I group them. Before I play it as written, let me break this down. It helps. There are 3 sets of pairs here. Here's the first one. Here's the second. Third. And ends. Those are those 2 measures. Packed. You could, if you only have 20 minutes to practice, go right to those 2 measures. Go to the top of page 4 and learn these. Take them apart. And then you know, wow, I know this part. And you only have 2 more systems and you finish the piece. Another great thing about these charts, it's built in how to practice. And if you can take each one of these as a standalone part, know where to start and what fingerings to use, when you go to perform it, you're going to have such enormous security because your fingers are trained to jump at all these different start points with the right fingerings and the right notes. You've practiced it that way. So now here, up to tempo, we're wrapping up the piece. How are we going to get to home? How are we going to get to B flat minor? Here are these F major chords. Oh, I love this part. This alto and the tenor right here. Listen to this. And the tenor. Is really interesting, complicated. I'm going to show you my music, what I did here. I'm still trying to get my head around this. What's he doing here? This is really obtuse writing. And I put these, go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you want, and transfer it to your music. But these beats, again, starting on the 4th beat, notice that this is an open measure. Because the first beat closed that system. You will see many open measures with no bar line. And then the remaining 3 big beats will start the new system because that's how he built the piece. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each of these 4th beats, it's actually, if you break down 12/8 time, which is a compound meter, we have 4 groups of 3. I think it's okay. I do it also for my own knowledge of the bigger beats of the piece. Instead of always counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and therefore these would all begin on the big 2. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. It makes it a little easier to count. Just something that I wanted to share with you, which may be helpful in your counting. So I'm going to count now. Maybe I won't count. The real 4th beat. Yes, I think I will count this as a 2. Let me go into the big beat so you can see how that works. Starting on 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. How great! He ended on the 1st beat, only right here. at the end, and how emphatic he did it with the fifth. Again, F and C, and he does it 3 times. Listen here, this is your coda. This is the end of the entire piece. And I put these vertical bars here because not only do we have the punctuation on the downbeat, the first beat of the left hand, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The offbeats are going to be on 2 and 4 with the alto. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see how regimented now this is? For the first time we are on the grid of traditional 1, 2, 3, 4 counts. No more displaced 4th beat. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Now we're on the beats. How are we going to get our B flat minor? We still don't know. There it is. Right there. Preceding this, we have this on on the Sicilian motive, skipping down, C, F, B flat, and then G flat in the tenor, down to 6, D flat, G flat, that's beautiful. See, when you slow it down, you really hear it. But I really want to stress that counting again. It took me a long time to get my head around these beats, so that when I finally did end on that downbeat in measure 49, I truly was on that first beat. Still skirting the C, isn't it? For sure. I have really enjoyed taking you on this journey with me on what the piece means to me, and the discoveries that you will make on this will be limitless. You will continue to discover more and more details will emerge. It's almost like you can never get there with a piece of this magnificence. When we have great art, not only does it stand the test of time, but it is inexhaustible from the content and the meaning and the discoveries that we can make about it. Thank you so much, and I wish you well with your Prelude number 2 in B flat minor.